Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football 2024 high school recruiting class superlatives for the LSU Tigers. One of my favorite episodes to do every single year, where we put so much time breaking down each of these commitments in the 2024 class as they come in. And now with spring ball coming around, you kind of tie a bow on the 2024 class. We have 5 superlatives to give out for this class. Number 1 going to the freshman that I think has the highest impact year 1 for the LSU Tigers. Number 2 going to the freshman that I think will be the highest NFL draft pick in the next couple of years. Number 3 going to the player that I think outplays their recruiting ranking. Number 4, class MVP. And then number 5, the high risk, high reward prospect that you maybe have some question marks about coming in, but a guy that has all the tools to be a very good player for the LSU Tigers heading in to his career. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys and a massive shout out to the LSU fans. I mean, whether we're talking transfer portal, recruiting class, coaching carousel, and coaching moves for this LSU program, it's been a blast. The amount of support you guys have shown the boys truly means the world. Cannot thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, I'm going to give you guys my 5 names for these superlatives. Left a lot of names that I like off this list. Would love to hear some freshmen you guys are excited about heading into 2024. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And we're going to start with the superlative, going to the freshman that I think has the highest impact and, quite frankly, might be one of the most impactful freshmen that we see across the country. And that's going to go to 5-star defensive lineman Dominic McKinley. You look at the one question mark that I have for this LSU program, it really is coming from the inside of that defensive line. And if for LSU to truly be special in 2024, you got to see some guys emerge on the inside of that defensive line. Obviously, losing guys like Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Dominic McKinley has the ability, not only the opportunity, but the physical ability to come in year 1 and be a difference maker for this LSU program. Taking a look back at what he did at the Under Armour All-American game, it just makes me feel even better about what Dominic McKinley can do year 1. You look at the opportunity, it's certainly there, right? This LSU team is thin on the defensive line, especially on the inside. And then you go and watch Dominic McKinley at the Under Armour All-American. You go back and take a peek at that senior film. This is a guy that is physically ready to come in and be an impact player. Now, not an early enrollee. He's going to get there in the summer. If he can get up to 290, 295 pounds, this is a guy that physically is very capable of playing as a true freshman. And quite frankly, the LSU Tigers are going to need him to come in and play at a high level as a true freshman. And if he does, I think that answers a massive question mark that we have for the LSU Tigers on that defense, a guy that is just kind of special with the size and the speed and the length that he brings to the table, checks a lot of boxes physically early on in his development, and again, fits exactly or has an opportunity to really break into that rotation for the LSU Tigers. If Dominic McKinley hits, if he is an impact freshman for this team, that's going to be massive for Brian Kelly heading into 2024. Next superlative to give out is the draft pick that I think will be the highest for the LSU Tigers, and that's going to go to one of my personal favorites, Trey Green. This is a guy that, watching the senior film, watching the development as a football player, the junior year film, you just saw a freak athlete. The senior year film, you saw a very good football player that has freak athlete traits. I think that's what's most important. You talk about Trey Green, what he brings to the table. You're talking about someone who goes 6'7", 240 pounds, a guy that plays above the rim because he has that basketball background. You can tell that he is a phenomenal basketball player too. When that football is in the air, I mean, Trey Green is using that physical frame, knows how to high point the football. And you talk about what the NFL covets, what the college football world covets. One, a guy that's a mismatch nightmare. You look at some of the tight ends that are kind of changing NFL offenses, like guys like Travis Kelce. I think Trey Green can be that sort of player for the LSU Tigers. And more importantly, in the world of college football, you're seeing a lot of offenses be able to move the ball between the 20s. Right, but you have to be able to score 7 points when you get into the red zone to win national championships, to reach the pinnacle of this sport. A guy like Trey Green with the catch radius and the ability to make those contested catches that he possesses is a guy that I think could be huge for LSU for the next couple of years, but also going to be a guy that the NFL certainly covets because of the physical traits. Again, the size, the speed, how smooth he is as an operator at that size. It's truly special. I think the upside is so tremendous with Trey Green. I think this is a guy that in the next 3 to 4 years, the NFL draft community is going to be all over. Number 3, and probably my favorite superlative to give out, that goes to the player that I think just outplays their recruiting ranking. I'm going to go to Javon Johnson, a flip from the Colorado Buffaloes. I think he's underrated because he played a lot of quarterback at the high school level and was a phenomenal quarterback at that. But you take a look at how you project him to the back end of a defense, whether he's playing nickel, whether he's playing cornerback, whether he's playing safety, the movement skills are absolutely off the charts with Javon Johnson. And you look at, I think another thing that I think really excites me is he's played that quarterback position. What one trait do you need to have when you're playing quarterback? You got to have the instincts. You have to have the ability to diagnose what's in front of you. I think that's going to really help him as he makes that transition to the defensive side of the football, understanding route patterns, understanding offensive concepts. Talk about instincts, and then you combine that with the twitch and the movement skills Javon Johnson has. This is a guy that I think has a massive upside, and again, just probably flying under the radar as a recruit because he played so much quarterback, and that's not really the position that they're projecting to him at the next level. You give him a year to really harness that secondary, that defensive back role wherever he goes. He's extremely versatile. Now, I think this is going to be a guy that is going to be really good for the LSU Tigers over the next couple of years. And again, another position group that you need to see LSU take that stride. And I think Javon Johnson certainly helps that. Number 4 superlative that we're giving out goes to the class MVP. This one was tough. Dominic McKinley certainly has an argument for this too, but I didn't want to give out 2 superlatives. So we're going to go to the 4-star running back, Kaden Durham. And if you were to ask me, in all the running backs that I've evaluated at the high school ranks, I don't know how many running backs I'm taking over Kaden Durham. And the reason that I'm giving him that class MVP is you look at what wins you football games, right? Defining the class MVP is what guy in this 2024 class are we going to look back on and say, LSU won a lot of football games because of this guy? Kaden Durham has the ability to make those game-changing plays that win you football games. This is a guy that ran a 10-3 100-meter dash, one of the fastest players in this 2024 class, but also combines that. I think the narrative is, he's just a speedster. One, you look at the height and weight, 5'9", 195 pounds, kind of built like Blake Corum up at Michigan, really, really thick lower half, good center of gravity, can take on contact. He's one of the fastest players on the football field, but he's more than that. This is a guy that averaged almost 10 yards per carry during his high school career at Duncanville, multiple state championships, and a guy that ran for over 4,000 yards in the state of Texas at the high school level. He, to me, kind of checks all those boxes that you want in a running back. Right? Again, 5'9". Some people say, he's capped maybe with the size that he can put on. Blake Corum was 5'8". Blake Corum got up to 210 pounds. And I'm not sure Kaden Durham gets that big because he wants to maintain that explosiveness and the speed that he has. He's a guy that makes people miss at the second level. If you take a bad angle, he is going to absolutely burn you and has the ability, more importantly, to hit those big plays that win you football games at the college football level. Kaden Durham, probably my favorite running back in this 2024 class, and a guy that has the ability to really be a game changer for the LSU Tigers. Last player we're going to talk about, and that is the high-risk, high-reward prospect, a guy that you think has a lot of tools, but you still got some question marks about, and that is offensive tackle Ethan Callaway, coming from North Carolina. I can see the concerns, right? I see why he is a 3-star recruit, the 42nd offensive tackle in this class. When you turn on the film, there's not really much pass protection that you see. He played in an offense that was very run heavy. This was a guy that can move bodies off the line of scrimmage, but you didn't really see him get asked to operate as a pass protector. So that's a massive question, right? You talk about tackles who are 6'7", 300 pounds. Your biggest question mark is the athleticism in pass protection. You see a good athlete when you turn on the film. This is a guy that gets off the line of scrimmage extremely well, can work up to the second level. You see the athletic traits. You see a 6'7", 300-pound body that moves extremely well. Now the question is, can you teach him that pass pro and get him kind of unlock what he has in the toolkits that he has to be very good at the next level. And if he does, I mean, you're looking at a really good offensive tackle who not only is a road grader in the run game, extremely physical, extremely explosive off the football, but if he can come on with that pass protection, you're looking at a really good offensive tackle for the LSU Tigers, a position that they've recruited really well at, they've developed really well at. Ethan Callaway, that high upside, maybe high risk prospect. And I use the word risk with a grain of salt, right? You're not really, if this guy doesn't put it together, that's not the end of the world, but he's a guy that I think has a lot of upside to his game for the LSU Tigers. Those are the 5 that I included in my superlatives. Again, a lot of names I wanted to include on this one, wasn't able to because we only got 5 superlatives. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. This is truly a blast for me to do. Hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. And if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.